Okay, in this lesson, we're going to have our first little taste of classical or Spanish guitar. We've talked about classical style finger picking, but haven't applied it to an actual classical or Spanish piece. So I pulled out my old classical guitar, haven't played it in a long while, so you have to cut me some slack. I'm a little rusty on the classical. We're going to start with a relatively simple Spanish tune called Romanza. It means romance. It's got two sections. It's got a minor section and a major section. And, you know, if you have a classical guitar, it's great. You can play it on acoustic. I mean, you can play it on electric for that matter. It's all same chords apply to all of it. But if you really want the sound, you really want a classical guitar or at least an acoustic. Unfortunately, I don't have any fret markings on this guitar. It's the only classical guitar I have, so I'll try to really be specific about the frets I'm playing. So the song, or the piece, is going to start in E minor, and then it's going to shift and go to E major, which is kind of cool. So it's two parts. This is an old traditional song. There's no known author. And people play it a lot of different ways as far as the arrangement of it goes. You can kind of do whatever you like. So I say it's a relatively easy classical tune, but in the classical world, nothing is really that easy. Because what you're doing basically is you're playing all the parts of a piece of music. So if you were playing with an ensemble, the bass would play the bass part, the guitar would play his part. You might have a keyboard player, piano player playing another part. Or, you know, you have a bass line, a harmonic structure, and then a melody. And, you know, in a normal ensemble, the bass might take the bass, the piano might take the harmony, the chord structure, just kind of comping chords, and a guitar might play the melody. Well, in this case, you're doing all of it. So there's a lot of finger stretches, there's a lot of arpeggiating chords, and you're doing a lot at once. So we'll take it real slow. The first part is really easy. We're going to start with 7th fret, and you're going to pluck the 7th fret with your 3rd finger, or I'm sorry, the E string with your 3rd finger, and do E, B, and G 3 times. And on the first one, you're going to hit the low E string with it, with your thumb. So 3 times. And that's going to be your finger picking pattern the whole tune. So that's the first part. Then we're going to hit it again. Then we're going to go to the 5th fret with our first finger on the high E string. Still finger picking the same other strings. Then the 3rd fret. That's what we got so far. Then we're going to hit the 3rd fret again with our E string, low E string. So 3, 2, 0. So if you listen to just the melody, it'd be but we're adding the bass note, and we're adding other these two chords are basically holding down the harmonic structure. That's what we have so far. So the finger picking pattern is 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger, 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger. And if you haven't watched our volume on finger picking style, you definitely want to do that first. Okay, now we're going to hit open E, both open E's, high E and low E. Then 3rd, then 7th, and then 12th. So, and then when you hit the 12th, you're hitting the bass note again. So the bass note it always comes after every 4th of this pattern. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so every 4th time, or you could consider it, every 3rd time too, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 1, because it's in 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so just kind of remember that. So I'm going to play that whole first part again, nice and slow. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Now, you're going to hit the 12th fret again with the low E string. And go 12, 10, 7. Now I'm purposely using my pinky because it's going to set me up for this next A minor chord. Same finger picking pattern. Now we're going to play an A minor chord. This is where it starts to get a little tough. You're going to bar the 5th fret with your first finger, and we're going to pluck the 5th fret of the low E string with our pinky on the 8th fret of the high E string. Now you got to really get all these barred, because now we're going to be picking with our B and G string, we're holding down the 5th fret of the B and G string. So you got to get that sound. So we go. Then we walk back to the 7th fret with our 3rd finger. And then 5th fret. So you just take that off because you're already barring the 5th fret. Then you hit the 5th fret again with the bass note. So you're going down and then you're walking back up. So okay, so we went from E minor to A minor. Okay, so let me play that again one more time. Now we're going to go to this is basically a B7 chord, which is the 5 of the key we're in. So it's E minor is the 1, A minor is the 4, B minor would be typically the 5 chord in a minor key, but a lot of times in classical and all kinds of music, they'll change that B minor to be a B7 chord, a B dominant 7, which is a pretty cool sound. So we got the A minor, okay, so we go B7. So you're going to bar the 7th fret with your first finger and put your 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the G string. And you're going to pick, same pick pattern, bass note. Then you're going to put, this is a little tricky here, your 2nd finger down on the 8th fret of the high E string. And then lift it up, so. And then we hit we got to stretch our pinky all the way out here to the 11th fret. Now we're hitting our bass note with it. And then go back to the 8th fret and then the 7th fret. So 11, 8, 7. So let's take it from the A minor chord. Here we go. Okay, now we're back to kind of more of the beginning part of the song. 7th fret. Now we're in our E, back to our E minor chord structure. 7th fret with the low E string open. 5th fret, 3rd fret. Let's see. Just like that. 7th, 5, 3, 3 again with the open E string. 2, 0. Then we go to another B7 chord, but it's going to be lower register on the next. So if you played a B7 chord like this, okay, but we're going to finger it a little different because we don't need this note. We're going to need to stretch our pinky. So it's going to be 2nd fret A string, 2nd fret G string, 2nd fret D string. Just like that. So we're going to go. Three times. Bass note again. Then we're going to put our pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Then we're going to go to a regular E minor chord. This is the only place where the finger picking changes. Because we want to get this little bass line in there, right? So you're going to first pick the D string and the E string. Then the B and G open. Then you're going to pick the A and E string together. Then you're going to put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. Pick the 2 E strings together. And then lift your 3rd finger off and play the open E. You might stop right there. So it's like that. And you can kind of retard that, slow it down as it gets there. Okay, so a lot to take in there. Let me play it real slow, the whole first part of the piece. Okay, so when you're playing the tune, you could play that piece, that part of the piece, 2 times, and then maybe go to this next part where we're going to learn. So now the whole key of the piece switches to E major. So we're going to start with that part, okay? So we're going to put our first finger on the 1st fret of the G string and our pinky on the 4th fret of the high E string. We're going to be picking same pick pattern. Open E and the high E string together. And then the B and G string together. So 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Again, 2nd fret, and then open. So. Okay. Now we're going to go to an F. It's basically an F dominant 7 chord. It's going to hit this kind of funky chromatic note in the middle of it, though. This is a tough one. So you got to bar the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, all the strings. It's really hard to get the G string to sound out. So 3rd finger is on the 4th fret of the D string. 1st finger is barring the 2nd fret. The pinky is on the 5th fret of the B string. So we're going to be picking the low E string, B string, G string, and D string. So it shifts up a little bit. And we just hit 4th, and then we slide our pinky back to the 3rd fret on the B string. And then we're going to hit that again. And go 2nd fret on the B string back to the 3rd fret. It sounds funny. It sounds kind of almost like it's out of tune. Okay, so that's our F dominant 7 chord, F sharp. Then we're going to slide up to a B. So 7th fret, you're barring the 7th fret. 2nd finger is on the 8th fret of the G string. 3rd finger is on the 9th fret of the high E string. 3 times there. Then you do again. And you reach your pinky up to the 11th fret and then back to the 9th fret. So then we're going to go to an E major chord. So we're going to shift and we're going to play our pinky on the 9th fret of the high E string, our 2nd finger or 3rd finger on the 9th fret of the B string, and our 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the G string. We're going to pick. Then we're going to go back here to the 7th fret with our 1st finger on the high E string. Then we're going to hit that again and climb up. So 7, 9, 11. And it's going to lead us to this chord. Now we're going to bar the 9th fret with our 1st finger and play the 12th fret with our pinky. 3 times. So just chromatic down. That's going to take us to the last hard chord. It's going to be an A. So we're going to be picking the A string for our bass note now. Your 2nd finger is going to be on the 6th fret of the G string. You're going to be barring the 5th fret of the B and high E strings. So it's kind of like this. But we got to reach our pinky all the way up here to the 9th fret. So 9, 7, 5. So from there, Now we go to a B major chord. So we're going to do first finger on the second fret of the A string, second finger on the fourth fret of the G string, third finger on the fourth fret of the B string, and third finger on the fourth fret of the high E string. Fifth fret there, back, so it's now we have our E major chord. That's a tough stretch right there with your pinky. So we're doing basically the same thing we did at the end of the first half with the E minor chord, but we're going to be doing it with the E major chord. So high E string and D string together, then high E string and A string together. Then we got to reach all the way up to the fourth fret of the low E string with your pinky, and then open. And that's the whole second half. Okay, so that's it for the second section. The tune is not so hard with your right hand. The finger picking part, it's the chording and the finger stretches that are tough, but we've provided the tab for you. So take your time, do a little bit, section at a time. With a lot of practice and over time, I think you can definitely get it. So that is Romanza.